Hi, I'm Aishwarya, your host. In this episode, I sit down with Srinivas Sigina, a regional head at HDFC Life, to explore the people, performance, and decisions behind modern banking, from hiring talent to managing risk and shaping the future of banking.
There's a saying in business when an economy changes, the banking feels it first. And over the last few years, the industry has seen some of its biggest shifts yet. I'm Aishwarya Kurkundu, currently studying in Mahindra University. And today, I wanted to have a conversation with someone who has been at the center of this change. Joining me today is Srinivas Siginam, a regional head in HDFC Life. Srinivas sir, it's great to have you here.
Thank you, and wish you the same, Aishir.
So, to begin with, could you introduce yourself and tell us about your professional journey in the banking?
See, in fact, I'm an MBA student, right? So, did marketing as a specialization. So, after that, I started my career as a sales executive. Okay, later I shifted to telecom industry. So, where I worked for almost 6 to 7 years into channel sales. Later, I joined the insurance industry, life insurance industry, and into L&D department, and I've been working in the same company for the last 20 years. So during my entire stint of this company, I'm there in different departments like sales and as well as into L&D, learning and development department. So currently I'm heading AP and Telangana states in learning and development department. So I have a team so which is responsible for the performance management because it's a sales organization, right? In HDFC Bank and HDFC Life, so they are sales organizations. And within this HDFC Life, I'm into bank assurance channel. So because we have a verticalization in terms of L&D, so our vertical handles the bank assurance channel where HDFC Life and HDFC Bank are channel partners. In fact, currently HDFC Bank is our parent company, right? So HDFC Life products bank is going to sell. Okay, so for bank it is going to be third party products. Okay, because we have a huge client base of HDFC Bank, so so bank is sourcing HDFC Life products to HDFC Bank customers. Okay, so we have a support system, okay, which is enabled to support the banking staff to sell the HDFC Life products, right? So our team job is to ensure that the performance management to be up to the mark. Okay, in terms of identifying the gaps in skill issues, knowledge issues. Okay, and identify these gaps and plugging these gaps with the required interventions. Okay, along with that, reviews and tracking the performance. Okay, and hand holding the people uh, they're struggling, right, and scaling up to the required benchmark. So these are the basic ask from the L&D department. See, in fact, ours is a sales training department because end of the day we are also accountable for numbers, right? So that means we travel hand to hand along with the sales staff at field, okay, in terms of producing the business. Okay, so in a nutshell, yeah. So and L&D uh, is an extended part of sales in an organization like HDFC Life, okay, where bank assurance is a major channel because bank assurance channel is one channel, and especially HDFC Bank relation. So company is getting a business of around 70%. Okay, so we are working with one of the biggest bank assurance partner. Okay, in fact, it is the biggest bank assurance partner in India itself. Okay, yeah.
That's an inspiring journey. So, what are the biggest challenges you face in managing teams and training professionals?
So challenge is a part and parcel of the life, right? So when you think something is challenge, that means it is going to give us an opportunity if we plug in the gap, right? That is what I look at the challenges. Okay, challenges come in different ways, right? So sometimes it is because of a technical issues, or it is because of a skill issues, or it is because of will issues. So there is every challenge come with its own dynamics. So let us understand these channels, these challenges, and plug in the gaps wherever it is required. Okay, and coming to the biggest challenge, see, always it's a dynamic environment, right? Banking is a dynamic environment. If you look at the trends, how the technology changes, how the behavior of customer changes, how the reforms introduced in India, and regulations also keep on changing. So it's a dynamic environment where we are working, right? So that means so every minute is a challenging for us, right? And every minute is very important, right? So we need to deal with the different challenges in different ways. Okay, and coming to the people management, uh, I do not say that it's a tough job, right? Yeah, I do agree that it is challenging if you do not understand your team, right? So understanding the team is a first point for a manager, right? If he doesn't understand his team, he cannot ensure that required deliverables to be produced uh, using the strength of the team. Because only when he understands the strength, only when he understands the gaps, so then only he can do something, and so that the required gaps are plugged in, and ultimately people will perform it, right? So as a manager, one should understand his team first, and at the same time ensure that his team members get confidence on his manager. That's the most important thing. Okay, so either of the things are not done, and obviously it is going to be a big gap.
Right. So, since you interview and train many candidates, what instantly tells you that someone is not right for this corporate world or banking?
See, there is no hard and fast rule says that whether the person is fit or not fit, right? It all depends upon uh, the impression or the perception, what the interviewer is carrying, and what the person who is being interviewed is leaving to the interviewer, that matters, right? So coming to the aspects, what generally make people to think that whether the person is going to be fit for the organization or not is first impression. Because the first impression, it's not only an interview, it in fact it is everywhere, right? So when you meet a stranger, or when you go for a shop, okay, and in any meeting, in fact, the first impression carries so a lot, right? So the first point where people will judge, it's very judgmental, right? Whether fitting, of course there are technical matters also matter, like a skill set, knowledge levels, all these things will come into the picture. But basically ultimately the judgment automatically comes into the picture. Okay, especially the way he present himself. See, first of all, the person we look at in such a way that how he is presenting himself, right? So that actually carries the first impression. If the person is presenting himself in a professional way, that automatically gives an impression that I think he's the right person whom I am talking with, right? So presenting himself, of course, there is no specific definition for it, but how you speak, how you how the person is speaking, and how he is look like. So all these things are matter, right? So his attire, his body language, okay, and the way he's speaking, the modulation, okay, he's delivering. So all these things gives an impression, okay, to the interviewer. So it doesn't mean that if person is able to do all these things, he is going to be fit for the organization. But yes, it gives a comfort even for the interviewer also, that of course I'm talking to a right candidate. Let me explore. Okay, so, and most important thing is that when it comes to the fitment, right? So first, other point, I'm talking about the technical aspects. So whether the person whom I'm talking with has any knowledge of the job which I'm going to offer. Okay, that is most important thing, which is in terms of team handling, which is in terms of taking responsibilities, which is in terms of the technical aspects which are there in the job. Okay, which is in terms of understanding the challenges of the job. So these are all the other things or matter, right? And most important thing, one of the important thing to judge, because sometimes the other domain expert also will come for an interview. So basically, he's not a banking guy. Basically, he's not an insurance guy. And however, he comes for an interview. So in that case, probably we cannot expect that the person would be having a fair idea of the current job. Probably he might have gathered some information, right? So then what we see is that is interest level towards this job. Okay, so how he has explored the information regarding the company, how he has explored information about the profile. So that also we look at. Apart from that, the clarity of thoughts he's having about his own job, what he's currently performing. When a person is able to give a clear understanding and put these thoughts in a clear way about what the currently he is doing a job, so obviously it will tell us that the person is having a grip on the job which he is currently doing. Okay, he has a very good knowledge about his job. So that means he's a person, he's seriously involved in his job. That's the reason why he's able to have a clear thoughts about his job, right? So all these things, the interviewer will collate it. So based on that, he'll make a judgment. Okay, so like that it happens with every person. Sometimes the instantaneous uh, um, act and react, see how the person acts, how the person reacts also matter, because sometimes people react more than the requirement. Sometimes they do not even act. So all these things give a perception to the interviewer, right? So based on that, the final judgment will conclusion will come whether the person is fit or not. So there are many things we need to collate it. It's not that we have to look at only behavior. I mean, the technical aspects. So it's not that we have to look at only the experience part. Even though the person is not experienced, but he is more agile and enthusiast, right? So that given a chance, he can really explore and grow in the current. I mean, the job which is going to be offered. So we need to look at from the multiple things, multiple angles, whether the person is fit or not. Okay, ultimately, yes, it is a measurement in terms of what he knows. It's a judgment how he acts and reacts. So these are the things which actually make an interviewer to analyze whether the person is fit or not fit for the job.
What surprises you most about the fresh graduates, or to be more precise, Gen Z?
Gen Z is a big puzzle nowadays, right? So because recently I met one of my big clients, right? He's running his own software company. It's a big company, and during my discussion, he said that in the recent time, in the last 1.5 year, not even less than that, so they issued almost 300 offer letters, right? Almost the age group of the people are around 24, 25 age, right? And he said that only 10% of people accepted it, 70% rejected it. That means now Gen Z generation, they want to work in their own terms, right? Rather than what we actually impose. Okay, it's a generational shift. It's a generation shift, right? And of course, they're very innovative. They're very confident. They have a clear vision, right? What they want to do, how to do it. So they have a lot of clarity in their thoughts that nowadays I can see in this Gen Z generation. Of course, they are going to be the game changers, because currently the world is getting into the transformation. Okay, so from traditional to digitalization, or completely AI based world, we are going to see it, where the Gen Z are going to be uh, play a major role, right? So they are the life for any country now, because they are the people, they are going to carry forward the legacy in a new way, in a different way. Yeah, that's what my observation. So about the Gen Z people.
Right. So that brings us to an interesting question about performance and ethics in corporate environments. So, if someone is a brilliant salesperson but has poor ethics, Do they survive longer in the industry than someone who has stronger ethics but average numbers?
See, numbers, if one is compromised in ethics, probably numbers might give him an advantage for a short term, right? Long term, he will be losing his reputation and he will be losing acceptance from the people. So, obviously, it is going to be end to his career. So, for that matter, anyone, right? So, ethics are very important, right? So, uh, see, today you might missell and you might get numbers, but how long you do it? Okay, one day you will get caught. Okay, so the customers whom you promised, so they will also understand that what you have promised, that is not right, right? So ethics are very very important. Genuinity is very very important. See, today you may not be getting numbers, but your genuinity, your attitude, you are honest, the way you follow the ethics will actually carry an impression among the people, right? So because see, thing is that if a person is following the ethics, people always show interest to listen him, right? Because they have a trust. Because if one follows the ethics and rules and regulations, they follow the integrity, people always give a value to them, and always there will be credibility for the words what he's saying, right? So probably we might not be getting numbers at this point of time, but his credibility will make him to perform over a period of time, because people will recognize him, people will accept him. So always ethics are very very important. So not following ethics, uh, just looking at numbers and performance, see, performance is not a matter of only numbers. Performance carries so many things, right? So number is a number, that's it. So for the sake of numbers, compromising on ethics is absolutely not acceptable. Okay, and definitely they will not be having a longer career, longer tenure in any corporate. Yeah.
On that context, have you ever seen a product being pushed onto a customer even though they do not need it?
So how do I answer this question? Because um, if I have to say uh, truth, yes, it happens. See, in sales, there is always a pressure, right? So, because I cannot tell that everybody is going with a complete need and going with the need analysis with the customer as per his need, customer product being offered. Always, it doesn't happen, because sometimes, yes, there will be push. There will be always a sales pressure. There will be push. So it happens in many organizations, right? Almost in all organizations. So yeah, sometimes some products will be pushed. Of course, now you look at, there are a lot of complaints also raised um, uh, in, especially in bank assurance. If you look at a couple of months ago, even our honorable finance minister Nirmala Sitharaman also raised that there are a lot of complaints of mis-selling. Okay, so mis-selling, yeah, is a concern, right? Because the push is happening, right? It has to come down. So that's the reason why now the new regulations are also going to come into the banking system, so that to minimize, I mean, in fact, to eliminate this kind of wrong sellings, right? So push should not be there, should not be there. In fact, so yes, many organizations it happens. Yeah, it is there, but even now companies also realizing it, and because credibility is very very important, and now companies also taking a lot of measures, okay, a lot of precautions, and that's the reason why this L&D is also coming into the picture, right? So push happens in times where uh, see, if it, let's coming to the, let's talk about the sales, right? In sales, what happens is that if somebody has a clear direction how to do this, probably yes, there will be pressure, okay, of doing the sales within the timelines and producing the required numbers. But if they have a clear direction, so if not today, tomorrow, uh, they will get a grip on it, and they learn the game of art of selling, and they do it. right? But if they don't have a right direction, right, only they're being pushed to get the numbers, then actual pressure starts. Okay, if there is a direction, see, there are two things. One is pressure and stress. Well, let us look at these two things in a different way, right? Pressure can be there. Pressure can be there. Okay, the pressure always push you to get the things within the timelines, right? Whereas stress always put you into a situation that uh, you are in a dilemma. Okay, so ultimately you it might be leading to a wrong practice also, right? Because at the end of the day you need to produce something. Because what is happening in terms of stress is that there is a lack of direction. When there is a direction and you are pushed, there will be pressure, might be, but that is a healthy situation. Because at the end of the day, you follow the path, you follow the path, there will not be any wrong selling will happen. But whereas if there is no direction and you push the person, so since he doesn't know that how to do it and which path to follow, obviously he might resort to some wrong practices and manipulations. So this is where the people will actually get struggled.
Now, shifting from people's management to the business side of the banking, how much does a company's performance matter in getting a loan compared to its relationship with its bank with the bank?
I think you are asking about a corporate clients, right?
Right.
Where the corporate company is a client of HDFC Bank, right?
Yes.
Of course, performance matters, right? See, when it comes to lending, right, giving loans to anyone for that matter, so we will look at certain credentials. Okay, his earning capacity, how much he's earning. Okay, so whether there is a consistency in terms of earning, what is the potential earning which can be expected. So all these things are nothing but a shape of performance only, right? So performance always matter, because when we are lending money to the corporate company, so what are the track record? So in terms of revenue, okay, what is the potential revenue expected from them? What is the consistency of revenue they are producing? Okay, what are the profit margins? So everything that matter, because we are giving loan to them, right? So any bank will look at the repayment capacity, and repayment capacity only happens when the company is able to generate revenue. If their company is able to generate revenue, obviously they have to perform in terms of their business. So obviously performance matter.
So relationship doesn't take part in
See,
this.
relationship and performance are two different things when it comes to lending an amount, right? So it doesn't mean that I have a good relationship with the CEO of the company, but the company is not performing, I cannot give loan. Because ultimately it's not my own money, right? I'm giving the money of the people they invested in the bank, in terms of deposits, in terms of accounts. So I'm a custodian, I'm a trustee, right? I'm a banker, right? So I have to take care of the funds which are being parked in the bank, right? So it's not that only relation matter. Of course relation matters, because relation matters, because we want to have a long term relation with the company, so that there will be a consistent and continued business opportunity we'll be getting. So if we maintain the relation, so relation should be there always, right? But at the same time, when it comes to learning and lending part, so obviously the performance matters, right?
Right. So technology and digital transformation are rapidly changing the banking industry. So how do you see the digital banking and automation shaping the future banking financial services?
Did we expect that a vegetable vendor is doing net banking and performing UPay transactions 6 years ago?
No.
No, right?
No, no, right? Yeah.
Right. See, now the world is changing, right? In fact, digitalization is not introduced now, not launched now. It has already been launched. It has already been into the people. So if you look at post COVID, because COVID actually triggered so many things. So one of the thing is that adapting to the digitalization, adapting to the this kind of environment. Now, if you look at in the Indian context, okay, more than the normal literacy rate, the digital literacy rate is very high in India.
Oh.
Really. So if you look at, as I quoted one example of a vegetable vendor, right, a milk seller, okay, or even a small businessman, and even a worker, right. Nowadays they are using the UPI transactions, right, but they are hardly, they have not gone to any education also, right. That means even even when compared to the normal literacy rate, now people got adopted to the digital literacy rate, right. So that's a huge transformation. Okay. And in India, if you look at, we can see a lot of changes going forward, right. In fact, coming to the banking system, this digitalization has reshaped the entire banking system, and it is going to happen. And we can see a much more refined shape over a period of time. Now if you look at the moment in earlier days, okay, before these kind of things started in India, so when people talk about a bank, what actually comes into our mind? So when you were in your childhood, somebody was saying that when somebody was talking about a bank, what actually comes to your mind at that point of time?
Deposits,
Deposits.
loans.
Okay. See, deposit loans, you are right. Typically, a physical branch which comes to our mind, right? So that means one visit to the location, a location where there is an office, where the people are sitting, okay, where the banking transaction happens. That was the typical picture comes into the mind earlier, right? Now it is not like that. Now the branch banking, the shape of branch banking is transformed into anywhere banking. Now banking is happening from anywhere, even from right now in this during our discussion also we do the banking, right. So because it has many things got evolved, right. So it got its shape changed. It is because of digitalization. Okay. So now you can look at net banking, UPI transactions, all these are invented through digitalization only. Okay. And this is one thing. And apart from that, the advantage of digitalization is that it is reducing the cost. Okay. And it is reducing the cost, it is improving the efficiency, right. So in those days, if you look at 15 20 years ago, if you look at, if at all one has to approach for a bank loan, it took close to 6 to 7 8 days. Now the loans are getting issued within 15 seconds. Why it is happening? Why? Because the technology. Okay, there are certain algorithms which got created in banking systems. These algorithms nowadays, they're processing the data internally, and immediately they are giving the conclusion. That conclusion in those days were done by people manually, okay, by manually processing data, okay, and coming to the conclusion. It took 7 8 days of time. Now it is happening with the 15 seconds or 30 seconds. So that the efficiency improved. And at the same time, now many manual transactions got digitalized. Now if you look at in the olden days when I was studying, right, almost 25 years ago, uh, if at all I need to have some money, i I used to go for a bank branch, physical branch. And those days one token was given to the people, okay, the number, token number. So we carry that token number and we wait, because there was a huge queue, right. People, because that was the only source of uh, getting money from the banking system. Even ATMs were also not there at the point of time. So if I need to have some cash, I have to visit the physical branch, and I have to get the cash from the cashier, right. And cashier was at that point of the job of cashier was terrific. So it was highly loaded, right. So the huge queue, huge amount of people, okay, huge queue was there in front of him, that they are waiting. They used to wait for the trailer. If he goes for a lunch, people used to sit there and hours of hours they are used to wait. They used to wait there, right. So from that situation, now you look at now, without going bank, you are just doing a transaction.
Right, but still, we're still experiencing what you just said. We have to sit for long hours. It's still happening.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Now, see, transformation is happening. I'm not saying that entire thing got changed, but if you look at you could compare with those days, how the transactions were happening. It is not the case now. If you go to the physical branch nowadays, you may not be having 2 to 3 hours of waiting time to get the cash. And nowadays, who actually using the cash? Okay, it's more of digitalized, right? So a lot of transformation happened. At the same time, cost reduction. No need to deploy more number of people, right? So many manual things are happening digitally. And one more advantage which is happening is that the financial inclusion. That means now banking system was accessed earlier only for the limited segment of people, and many segments of people like rural and suburban people, those people are far away from formal banking system. If any money requirements are there, they are used to resort on informal financial systems and taking money from other person, something like that. So they are far away from the banking system. Now because of this digitalization, the government initiatives, like a lot of initiatives taken by the government, right? So because of that, a lot of integration happened. Like nowadays, if you look at that prime minister savings accounts are there, right? That savings accounts, Aadhaar, and your bank account all got linked. Okay, so because of that, so many people got uh, access to the banking now, right? And banking becoming very easy for the very, I mean, now it becomes accessible to so many cohorts. Many people are able to access the banking system now, because for everything what they are going to do, it is happening through the bank. So by that way, government brought every cohort into the banking system. So that's the reason why if you look at even the rural people, suburban people, so people in unorganized sector also now, they are doing the banking transactions. Probably they might not visit to the bank, but doing a UPay transaction is also banking transaction, right? So because all the cohorts are brought into the banking system now, that means it is called a financial inclusion, which is also a great revolution, a great transformation into the entire ecosystem of banking, right?
That's insightful. So moving on. So foreign companies come from countries where banking culture is completely different. Europe, Middle East, USA. So how does your team adapt to its approach for each?
It is also a very very important point, because government is promoting FDIs now, right? Obviously, many people will come into the India, and they are going to invest in India, right? And of course, the banking is a core requirement for any business to be produced. Yeah, rightly said. If any players, companies, they are coming from abroad, okay, like US and Europe, or Japan, or Middle East in that case. So most of the times, if you look at people, I mean, companies will be coming countries like this, rather than the countries like Africa, something like that, right? So that means most of the companies coming from companies where there is a strong and stringent banking regulations and banking systems are already available, right? And that means they got habituated for a controlled banking system. Okay, definitely their expectations would be very very high. Okay, so when it comes to India, definitely they'll be having the relationship with the existing banker. Of course, they do not actually leave it, because as a person, if you know, in our individual life, if we are not feeling well, so where do we go first? We will not go to specialist. We will go for the doctor whom we know it, because we have a trust already built in our relation, right? So we'll go for him. Based on his suggestion, we'll go for the others. Later on, for any other medical test and all, or something what we have to do in our life, so we will get habituated to the local or nearest diagnosis center, these kind of things, right? So similarly, is the similar example we can quote in here also, right? Initially, when they come into the India, definitely their existing banker will be back of them. It's not that much easy to replace them by the Indian banker immediately, and Indian banks, they do not actually do that, because they also know that already trust been there, which got built in their relation. So what we do is that we will also try to enter, okay, into their relationship, but not to replacing it. And over a period of time, we will try to increase our share. That is what we do it. So how do we do it? Okay, one thing, is that even Indian companies, they do not actually, the moment foreign companies come, of course, in India, our regulations are different, our markets are different. The way we operating our banking system might be little different from the foreign countries. So we cannot say that we have to do like this only. Okay, because we understand that foreign companies are very important for us, and investments are very important for us. Okay, so that's the reason why we also adopt certain international norms and standards. Okay, there is something called Basel rules and Basel norms. So these norms, they are international norms, global banking system norms, where they talk about how the banking capital, the capital of bank, what extent the bank should maintain the capital, and what is the liquidity they are maintaining it. It can certain standards they set for bankings, right? So generally, it helps the foreign companies also to look at those banks. They are following these norms. When the bank is following these norms, obviously they are also following the international standards. And also there is something called IFRS, that is International Financial Reporting and Standards, right? So any financial transaction reporting and all, we will be doing according to that standards. Because ultimately, what foreign clients, companies, what they expect is, one is it is structured. That's whatever the dealings and transaction which happens in terms of banking, which is very very structured and fast, efficient, these kind of thing they expect from us, right? So exactly, in those areas only we will work on it, right? And one more thing I can tell you, uh, foreign banker, they might be there with us, with that company, but however, the main advantage for the Indian banker, where the foreign client is investing in India, is that Indian banker know better about Indian situations, right? So they know the regulations better, they know the market better. Okay, they know the how the business cycles happens in India better. Okay, they know the business environment better, right? So if at all the company has to do business and perform in India, they need always a partner who knows better the conditions. And this is the point where we pitch. Okay, so if you associate with us, we are going to help us in these areas. Okay, so one of the important thing is that the regulations, navigating through regulations is a very very challenging for any foreign client. So if they are associated with any Indian bank, because they know the regulations well, and they can take them through the navigation very well, right? And like that, they require some vendors here, okay, some distributors here. Okay, in that area also, banks generally will help clients in terms of offering loans to the distributor. They want to associate with this foreign clients, because they are a foreign client. Probably some of the Indians might have not got trust on the foreign clients initially. So but when a banker is ready to give loans, so obviously, looking at bank, people will come forward. Just like in real estate, you see, right? So if any good reputed bank is ready to give loans in any real estate venture, people will actually trust, like that. So Indian partner, I mean, Indian, whoever is the Indian banker, if they are there with the I mean, foreign clients, that will actually help to create a trust among the distributors, vendors, and other people also. So that is also very very important thing. And of course, if rather than Indian bankers, if they simply relying on their own bankers, foreign country, so the speed of transactions also might not happen fast. Why? Because their level of operation at global level, right? So any approvals are needed, they need to wait and get from the global level. Whereas it happens domestically in India, if it is an Indian bank, so things go very very fast. So like that, there are many advantages when any foreign client is having association with the Indian bank. So these are the areas where the foreign client is having a challenge in India in terms of running the business. So in those areas, because we know better, being an Indian bank, we know better about the environment. So we offer services so that they can have a smooth transition or navigation through these kind of challenges. So this is what the pitching point for Indian bankers. That's the reason why we want to have a relation first. Later on, we want to increase our share. That is how we work with the foreign clients.
Right. Building on that, when a foreign company enters India, they usually bring their home country's bank with them. HSBC, Citibank. So, how does a bank compete and convince them to switch or split?
Just now explain, no? Because we follow the international standards. Again, we have a local advantage, right? At the speed of transactions are more. Okay, so we will be helping them into the getting them into the ecosystem of Indian business. So in many ways, so Indian bankers can help the foreign countries, right? That is always an advantage because having a local partner is always an advantage for any institution. They run the business here, right? Yeah.
So moving on. So unlike manufacturing companies, software companies do not have much physical assets, no inventory, no machinery. So how does a bank use as collateral? And also, if a company depends heavily on one client or two clients, so does the bank tell the company to reduce the risk before approving the loan?
This is a very interesting question, in fact, right? So typically, yeah, there might be some organizations, as you said, especially in manufacturing companies, but there are a lot of physical assets are also there. So that can be used as a collateral, right? In the firms like software, generally we do not see all these things, right? Right.
So what if their biggest if the what if the software company's biggest asset is the people's brains?
Of course, but we cannot keep people brain as a collateral, right? Yeah. So this is a very very interesting question. In fact, see, say for that matter, any company they want to give loan, right? To say, see, uh, basically they look at the repayment capacity. Okay, it happens through the cash flows. What are the cash flows for the business? Okay, what is the revenue for the business? What is the quality of the business? Okay, who are the vendors? I mean, who are the clients? Okay, what is the relationship? What is the relationship with the clients, and what is the tenure of the contract? What are the terms of the contract they are maintaining with the clients, and how big the clients are? Okay, and what is the trend of the business? What they are currently doing? What is the trend of profits they are producing in the, okay, in the past few years? So they look at the repayment capacity main, because bank is not interested for auctions, because bank business is not going for an auction, putting something into auction, right? They become defaulter. That is not the business of the bank. Bank business is to produce the revenue, produce profits on the loans which they have given it. It happens only be when repayment happens. So bank typically look at the cash flows, the revenue, what they are able to generate it. Okay, so that is a very very important thing. Okay, and in terms of when it comes to the software companies, we will look at these things. What is the profit margins they are making in the last few years? Okay, what are who are the clients? Okay, and how consistently they are receiving the payouts from the clients, and how many years the contracts are there, how many years we can expect the income, I mean revenue from the existing clients. Okay, what are the potential expansions of the business of this current company, and how much liquidity they are maintaining it. Okay, so like this, we look at so many factors, because ultimately we want to see that in case of financial shocks also the company should not be shaken, right? So there always there should be reliable clients, always there should be reliable revenue sources that should be there continuously for the firm. So that is what the point we look at it. It's not that only a physical asset, right?
But that's just knowing information. You don't have the confirmation. I mean,
See, I'll tell you one thing. So, banking decisions happens through evaluation of data. Okay, evaluation of data of financials, basically financial credentials, right? So, when we have to give a loan, I'm talking about a loan to any software company for that matter. So, we will look at their financial credentials, their financials, all right? So, based on their ideas, based on the other reports, other documents, we will check it. Okay, so based on that we will do our evaluation, and finally we'll make a conclusion whether it is a risky or not risky. For example, if the company is majorly the revenue for the company is majorly from one company, that means it is a risky, it is a risky situation. For example, if 30 to 40% of revenue is coming from one single company, so that is a risky situation for the company. If the 60 to 70% income is coming from one company, again it high, much more riskier. So we will assess the risk from the different angles, right? So based on that only final call will be taken. Yeah. Yeah, sometimes what happens is that in some cases, okay, so we will also seek the collateral from the directors on individually. In case at company level any default, company got defaulter in terms of paying the loans, the individual persons who are the directors of the company, they will give the collateral. Okay, sometimes it happens where we find some risky elements in the company. Still we want to continue the business with them, so we will take the collateral from individual customers. I mean individual directors, because ultimately we will take precautions, because we will see revenue generation, how it is happening. We will see the potential revenue that can be expected from the company, what are the profit margins, and what is the good whether the what is the governance in the company, right? What is the quality of business they are doing it, okay, the client base, okay, client relations, and the terms of contracts they are having it. So many things we will look at it.
Right. Looking ahead, what do you think the banking and financial services industry will look like over the next decade?
I think this is clearly evident in our eyes now, right? So, because a lot of transformation we see, and it is going to happen in a rapid way, okay, going forward. And as I said right in the beginning, that now branch banking is transformed into anywhere banking. See, if you look at now, banking is happening in every time. See, now the banking is getting into the such shape that banking is invisible, but banking is accessible.
That's a good way to put it.
Okay, the best example is your e-commerce, right? So if you order something in Amazon, they send you something and you pay the payment, right? Actually, there is a banking transaction happened at back end, but it is not visible. But it is accessible, and which is executable, which is happening now. The banking is getting into the embedded apps, I mean embedded transactions. Okay, now the in financial embedded financial transactions, what I mean to say is that we do lot of things, right? Buying tickets in movie tickets, and buying the vegetables, ordering in e-commerce. So many things we are doing it. Okay, now banking is getting into these systems now. Going forward, one will see banking into these systems, right? So that's the reason I said that they are invisible, but banking is happening, and banking happens only. Okay, so that is how it is going to shape up.
Right. So before we conclude, after everything you've seen inside this industry, the churn, the politics, client relationships, targets, so are you proud of the system you work within, or do you just make peace with it?
Obviously, because it taught me a lot. It's a learning for everyone, because ups and downs, politics, okay, playing with emotions, and many things. Okay, so all these are part and parcel of the trade, and we learn so many things from it. And if one has to excel in his career, in his life, one has to come across all these things. Okay, only then we will become tough and is able to handle the situations. So, and the kind of industry I'm working, because that is a life insurance industry, I said, right? So that is the unique industry. So that's a industry, the product which is a unique product. So where it will come to rescue you in terms when your family is in crisis, when you are not there. So nobody else will do it, right? Such a noble product which I am selling it. Okay, I'm representing it. Definitely I'll feel proud of it, and I'm a part of one of the biggest private bank in India. So obviously it is a proud moment for me, because I'm connected to so many cohorts, so many segments of people. So that gives me a lot of exposure. Okay, so I'm also part of this transformation. Okay, I'm also working with the Gen Z like you. Okay, so these are all proud moments for me. Right.
That's a thoughtful note to end on. Thank you so much for joining in with us today and sharing such valuable experiences. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you, Aishu. And it's really a pleasure talking to me also. And I wish you all the best. Okay. It's a great moment for me as well.